Your car is dying right now, and you're the one killing it. I'm about to reveal 11 deadly habits that will destroy your engine before it ever reaches 100,000 miles. Don't skip to the end because tip number 1 is so common and so deadly that it might be happening in your driveway right now. Every single one of these mistakes costs drivers thousands in repairs that could have been completely avoided. To hit that like button and subscribe to Kinetic Horsepower, because this information could literally save your engine's life. When you start your car on a cold morning and immediately rev the engine, you're doing irreversible damage that adds up over time. Here's what's actually happening inside your engine that you can't see. Oil takes time to circulate, especially in cold conditions when it becomes thick and sluggish like honey. It needs time to flow through all the tiny passages and reach critical engine components like bearings, camshafts, and piston rings. When you rev a cold engine, metal parts are grinding against each other with little to no lubrication. Engineers at major oil companies tell us that up to 90% of engine wear happens during startup. Every single time you rev cold, you're creating microscopic damage to piston rings, camshafts, and bearings. This damage builds up over months and years, until one day your engine just gives up. People do this because they're in a rush and think revving helps wake the engine up. In reality, you're just waking up your next expensive repair bill. Instead, let your engine idle for 30 to 60 seconds before driving. Keep RPMs low until the engine reaches normal operating temperature. Use synthetic oil that flows better in cold weather, and drive gently for the first few miles. Your engine will thank you by lasting twice as long. Not all gasoline is created equal, and always buying the cheapest gas is a false economy that costs you more in the long run. Top-tier fuels contain detergents that clean your fuel injectors and intake valves while you drive. Cheap gas lacks these cleaning agents, leading to carbon buildup that gradually chokes your engine's breathing and reduces power. Poor quality fuel additives can actually damage fuel pumps and injectors rather than helping them. Some additives contain alcohol or solvents that attack rubber seals and gaskets in older fuel systems. Others promise miraculous results, but deliver nothing except lighter wallets and potential engine damage. Look for top-tier certification on gas station pumps, which means the fuel meets higher standards for detergent content. Avoid additives unless your owner's manual specifically recommends them. Never use E85 ethanol fuel unless your car is specifically designed for flex fuel operation. Don't mix different octane ratings in the same tank. Remember that cleaner fuel equals cleaner combustion, which equals a longer-lasting engine that makes more power and uses less fuel. Every vehicle has weight and towing limits that aren't just suggestions. They're engineering limits based on what your car can safely handle. When you exceed these limits regularly, you're stressing suspension, brakes, cooling system, and transmission beyond their design parameters. Overloaded vehicles suffer from brake fade, cracked suspension mounts, overheated transmissions, and dramatically reduced fuel economy. The most common mistake is loading 5 adults with luggage into a compact SUV or towing a boat that weighs more than your truck's rated capacity. Check your vehicle's GVWR, which stands for Gross Vehicle Weight Rating, and know your payload and towing limits. Automotive fluids do much more than just lubricate moving parts. They regulate temperature, remove contaminants, protect seals, and prevent corrosion. As fluids age, they become acidic and start eating your car from the inside out. Most people wait until fluids look dirty before changing them, but by then the damage is already happening and may be irreversible. Old transmission fluid causes clutches to slip and bands to burn. Ancient brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air and eventually boils under hard braking, causing complete brake failure. Power steering fluid breaks down and destroys expensive steering racks and pumps. Here's when to flush each fluid. Transmission fluid every 30,000 to 60,000 miles. Brake fluid every 2 years regardless of mileage. Coolant every 50,000 to 100,000 miles depending on type, and power steering fluid every 50,000 miles. Don't wait for fluids to turn black or smell bad, because damage is already occurring by that point. Fresh fluids are cheap insurance against major component failure. Redlining a cold engine is one of the fastest ways to shorten its life dramatically. Until oil reaches its optimal operating temperature of around 190 degrees Fahrenheit, it can't protect internal components properly. Cold oil is thick and doesn't flow into tight clearances between moving parts. This is especially deadly for turbocharged engines because turbos spin at incredibly high speeds and depend on a constant flow of clean, hot oil for both lubrication and cooling. Keep RPMs below 3,000 until the engine is fully warmed up. Use synthetic oil for better cold start protection and more consistent viscosity across temperature ranges. Warm up your engine gradually through gentle driving rather than aggressive idling. For turbocharged engines, let them idle for a minute after hard driving to allow the turbo to cool down before shutting off the oil pump. Every sound your car makes is trying to tell you something important about its condition. Unfortunately, human brains naturally adapt to repeated sounds through a process called auditory adaptation. This means we gradually stop noticing new noises until they become part of the background, and by then it's usually too late to prevent expensive damage. Use your ears as diagnostic tools and don't normalize new sounds just because they happen regularly. Record strange noises on your phone to play for your mechanic, since intermittent problems are often hard to diagnose. Tires are literally the only part of your car that touches the road, yet most drivers completely ignore them until they go flat or wear out completely. Proper tire maintenance affects fuel economy, handling, braking distance, and the health of your entire suspension system. Neglected tires cause premature wear to shocks, struts, wheel bearings, and alignment components that cost far more than tires to replace. Rotate your tires every 6,000 to 8,000 miles to ensure even wear across all four positions. Balance them every 12,000 miles to prevent vibration and premature suspension wear. Get an alignment once per year or whenever you notice uneven tire, wear, or steering pull. Check tire pressure monthly with a manual gauge rather than relying solely on TPMS sensors, which often don't warn you until tires are dangerously underinflated. Automotive coolants aren't universal, and mixing different types creates chemical reactions that destroy your cooling system from the inside out. Different manufacturers use different coolant formulations that aren't compatible with each other. When you mix them, they create sludge, cause corrosion, and destroy gaskets that cost thousands to replace. For example, General Motors vehicles require Dexcool, which is an orange-colored extended life coolant. Most Asian vehicles use HOAT or PHOAT coolants that are usually blue or green. Always use the exact coolant type specified in your owner's manual. When flushing the cooling system, use distilled water rather than tap water, which contains minerals that promote corrosion. Never mix different coolant types, even in an emergency. Brakes are where items that need regular inspection and maintenance, yet most people only think about them when they start making noise or feel different. By the time brake pads are squeaking, they're already worn down significantly. By the time they're grinding, you're at metal-on-metal contact that destroys rotors and calipers, turning a $100 brake pad replacement into a $1,000 brake system overhaul. Check brake fluid color and level monthly since dirty or low brake fluid indicates problems in the system. Replace brake pads before they reach 3 millimeters thickness rather than waiting until they're completely worn out. Remember that waiting too long doubles both the repair cost and the safety risk. Modern cars are designed to be driven regularly, and they deteriorate quickly when left sitting for extended periods. When vehicles sit in use, fluids settle and thicken, fuel degrades and gums up injectors, batteries slowly discharge in sulfate, brake rotors develop rust that causes pulsation, and rodents often invade wire and harnesses and air intake systems. If your car will sit for more than 2 weeks, add fuel stabilizer to prevent fuel degradation and gum formation. Disconnect the battery or connect the battery tender to prevent discharge and sulfation. Inflate tires to maximum sidewall pressure to prevent flat spots. Start and drive the car weekly if possible, or at least run it long enough to reach full operating temperature. Sometimes the best diagnostic tool isn't a computer scanner or expensive equipment. It's your own intuition and familiarity with your vehicle. You drive your car every day and know how it normally feels, sounds, and behaves. When something changes, even subtly, that's your car trying to communicate that something is wrong before it becomes a major problem. Does your car feel different when accelerating? Is the steering wheel vibrating at certain speeds? Does it smell funny after driving? Is the engine running rougher than usual? Are the shifts feeling harsh or delayed? Pay attention to how your car normally feels during acceleration, braking, and steering. Notice normal sounds and vibrations, so you can recognize when they change. Don't ignore subtle changes in performance or behavior just because the car still runs. Address concerns promptly before they develop into emergencies that leave you stranded or cost thousands to repair. Which of these deadly habits have you been guilty of? Drop a comment below and be honest. No judgment here, because we've all made these mistakes at some point. Your experience and honesty might save someone else's car and their hard-earned money. If this video opened your eyes to what you've been doing wrong, smash that like button and subscribe to Kinetic Horsepower for more money-saving automotive tips that actually work. Share this with that friend who keeps ignoring their check engine light, because they'll thank you when they're not paying for a new engine. Drive smart, drive informed, and give your car the fighting chance it deserves to hit 300,000 miles and beyond.